Apparently I'm live. Is that the case? Loud. But good news is I am alive. Basically what happened is I need to end the other stream. I'll do that. Yeah, audio is working, video is working, so and this right. Basically, I had some issues with the whole setup. Not that anyone's gonna care too much, but we have a computer with no camera. We have an old laptop that didn't work as a backup, and this thing needed a Chrome, which apparently I didn't have. But yeah, I can see we have someone already commenting. Tiffy's of Cornwall, and you've asked already a question. So the question was, how many times a week do I trump in a Luton? And the answer is depends on the work. I sometimes have 2 nights a week, but majority of the times I'm trying to get back to Ipswich because it's really good time for work, and there's a lot of work back to east of England. So if I'm lucky, I'll get to sleep in a house and still make good money. But yeah, other than that, I usually try to take all the like spare clothing and such in case there will be a night out, because well, if there's good money, then why the hell not? Maybe that's going to be better. But yeah, I'm glad you can hear me. This was ridiculous. I have no idea why YouTube and Apple are making it so complicated to work together, but yeah, we over this. So I'm not quite sure from which question should I start. Let's go with Volcan 10. He asked if I had to start over, what would I do differently, and what lessons have I learned? I think I would start with Ivan. Because the Peugeot keeps breaking and we keep fixing it, and have I known how achievable the revenue is, I would probably go for a new one. But saying that, if I was in the same position, I would find it difficult to convince myself to spend 20,000 to 30,000 pounds on a new van. And then there was and I would probably be a subcontractor to start off with, not going for CX, not going for parcel, just subcontracting. We started working with City Sprint, and that's I'm quite happy with the Boxer being there. Yes, I do go to Cornwall, not very often because there's not many jobs, and I tend to be expensive, so I don't know. Sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. But Cornwall is nice. I think that I had the best day ever there on CX. Ended up going to Plymouth, and then even further on, ended up doing I think 3 collections. I was collecting smartphones, and I went some villages in the middle of nowhere, and the last place to deliver to them all was just over the bridge to where did I go? I can't even remember. Literally just over the bridge. So I think it was Cardiff. was ages ago. But yeah, the next question was from Jason Burke. What small van do I have? And do I do same day or Amazon? So the latest addition to the fleet is a 2017 Transit Courier, which we currently have a weekend contract on. So it's actually working right now. Doing COVID samples, which is something that I was never considering doing, but the driver was interested in evening work, so we sort of link it all up. The combo was meant to do it, but the combo broke a couple of days before we went to start. So the last weekend we used Luton for this, and it was overkill. It was so bad because we need to go to a car park and there's a height restriction, so there's walking, rain, and so we needed a new van. And since then, we've done actually quite well with the small van on CX. We collected it from Norwich and got a job from Norwich for the next day to Manchester. And as if by magic, delivered at 8:30, and by 9 a.m. we had the job back to Norwich, which pretty much covered, well, the fuel and the cost of having the van for that week. I'll crash probably. Right, so this brings me to Adam's question about the fleet. What do we actually have right now and what's coming up? So we have 3 vans right now. Still the Peugeot Boxer 2015 L4H2, which does multi-drop with City Sprint Twix. I actually like it. It pays every week. It's an okay revenue. Compared to CX, it's probably not as good day-to-day basis, but if we look at 6-month period, I think I've made more money with City Sprint than on CX. But then again, CX was 5 days a week. City Sprint is 6 days a week. Less miles, but I'm a lot happier there. We also have a Luton, which has a tail lift and a bed. This tends to do CX, and every now and again, some of our own friends and whoever else has anything to move. And the latest addition to the fleet is the Transit Courier, which again will do the contracted work on the weekend and as and when CX. And sort of between all of those vans, the Boxer is sort of paying for the weekly costs like fuel, some maintenance bits, and the driver wage. And then we have Sprinter and Transit that's pay at the end of the month. So that's going to be covering my wage, the other driver wage, and insurance, all the financing, because most of the ones are on finance, and anything else we need to pay for. And that brings me to the next van, which sort of in June, when the Peugeot broke, I started looking for new vans, and I decided that I really like what I'm doing. So I'm traveling all over the country on CX mainly. And I sort of wanted to have a fancy van, so I started looking at automatics. And the problem is Sprinters are expensive. Peugeot doesn't do them. Fiat does, but they are difficult to get. They seem to be nice, but the sticker price is, I think, £40,000, which sort of pushed me off. What else did we try? And then I went to test drive a used example of a Transit, which I was amazed. The gearbox was really nice, but the problem was it was for £27,000. It's still for sale, but didn't have cruise control, didn't have aircon, didn't have anything. It was literally just a automatic gearbox, and that's it, and the radio. So I then started looking for other options, and we sort of contacted the Ford dealer, and they told me it's 40 weeks for a new order, which is scary that there's a backlog of that size. But I ended up finding another dealer who already placed an order and had some coming in September, which then moved to August, and now we're trying to find some money to actually collect it. But hopefully next week or the end of the month we're going to be collecting. Sadly, we cannot do it in September. The dealer said it has to be done before 1st of September, so it's going to be a 21 plate. But the weirdest thing is, this brand new van is cheaper than a used one that I was looking at. It has parking sensors, sat nav, cruise control, adaptive cruise control, like all the options, and it was still cheaper than I think it was 40,000 mile used example. But yeah, if the Transit does well, we will probably get another one in following September to replace the Boxer. So another question, what's the best day on CX? The best day, we went to Edinburgh recently, which was, I think, the furthest of a single job. It paid okay, £550 for 460 miles or something like that. It was nice because we arrived in the morning, because I took my girlfriend with me, and we decided to do exploring, because how likely is it that there's going to be a job back from Edinburgh? Well, it turns out there were some going south. We didn't bid on any on Friday. And then on Saturday, late Friday, we decided that we might start heading back, because there's just stuff to do home, and we're not feeling great sleeping in this little pod. The plan originally was to get a room, but we're just not there for very long. On a Friday, we've done all the attractions we were meant to do, doing sightseeing, and ended up coming back to London, of all places, with some suitcases. But that wasn't the best day. Well, that was 2 days, actually, 3 days. The best day was, I think, close to £550, no, £600. It was like 4 jobs I've done in a day. Started in Ipswich, went to Slough, and from Slough, I think I had a JCB job from Slough, which, well, according to the internet, is the worst thing ever. But we've delivered that. I think we're going to 5 o'clock, and then we've done an evening shunt somewhere, another 100 quid. And the last job was picking up at 11 at night from a big depot. We were picking up car parts in a cage and delivered at 7 a.m. the next morning. So technically it was like a day and a few hours, but that was the busiest day I've ever had. Literally, I think I've only used like 1 tank of fuel, so maybe 450 miles. It was just no waiting whatsoever. I barely had time to eat anything or drink, but that is the sort of runs that I enjoy the most, when there's no sitting. But yeah, I'm not quite sure how you guys are sourcing your vans. To this point, we've been doing used ones, so looking for a specific model and going around the places, and it's horrible. Like I don't like dealing with dealers. But looking for the small van, we tried everywhere in Ipswich, and there was just nothing interesting. There was no couriers, so we had to go up to Norwich to test ride them, because the dealer had like new ones that were more expensive than the used ones that were more expensive than the new ones, or you can place a new order for a new one and wait for 2 weeks, which is madness. So we went for a used example just to have it quicker and see how the new driver is going to get on with the deliveries. But yeah, there was another question. Nope, it just says trouble with the internet. Yep, I do have troubles with the systems, not the internet. But yeah, any other questions? Anything else you guys want to know? We're based in Suffolk, well, Ipswich to be specific. We have 3 vans. Soon we're gonna have 4 vans, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna have a third driver, or whether the fourth is gonna be a backup for now. Mainly because whenever Boxer is out of order for whatever reason, Luton is the only thing that can replace it, and Luton is not great on building supplies, multi-drop. Just tiring using the lift all day up and down. So yeah, I think the Transit, even though it's not ideal, it's a 3-meter spec it's going to do well, because whenever Boxer or Sprinter will break or go for maintenance or whatever, we can jump into that. But yeah, the other reason for buying another van was I think in May every week there was at least one day where vans were off the road. It was all random stuff, stuff that we couldn't predict. Flat tires, windscreen replaced, brake issue. The brake issue on the other van, they were just literally somehow lined up to be week after week after week. So hopefully with a spare van, we'll be able to mitigate that and stay, well, keep running as much as possible. But yeah, I think another common question is CX. Should you join CX? And in my opinion, you should not join CX to start off, just because there are easier ways to make money. Not necessarily more money, but if you don't have to worry about chasing invoices and dealing with fuel, dealing with maintenance, it helps. You'll be happier. Saying that, we are gonna renew CX because it's amazing. We've got some vans contracted, but not all of them, so that when something happens, we can, well, when the contract dries for a day or two, we can take that van back on CX, which hasn't happened very often. Usually, whenever there's no contracted work, the driver wants a day off, so we sort of don't really use all the vans on CX. But yeah, we have whopping 5 people audience, which is amazing. Yeah. And the other reason for going for Fords is the driving seat is very comfortable. Like I've sat in Sprinters, Masters, obviously Peugeot, Fiat, and they are okay. But in the Ford, I was feeling very comfortable. It was almost like a premium seat, car seat maybe. Just I think I can do a lot more miles than in a Sprinter. In a Sprinter, well, because it's an older car, the clutch is heavy, the steering is heavy. There's a limit of driving that I can do, and you're not stopping me, because whenever I have a busy day, I get to 300 miles. It's like I don't really want to go to Wales or Scotland in that van, because I just had enough. Sort of looking for smaller jobs. But yeah, what do you guys drive? What's your favorite van? Yes. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the future and where do I see the business going. Right now, we obviously have vans and drivers that are happy being couriers, but in the future, I would like to get an O license. Maybe not same as Pete to be on CX, probably again subbing out to someone else, because we just don't have a setup to plan more drivers, and that's I think the biggest issue with growing is sort of you want to have your own end users or whatever, the customers. But then if you get 10 people, how do you gonna carry on using the van, planning efficiently and making sure all the customer deliveries are delivered on time? So if we're gonna move into the transportation booking office, we will obviously need to have someone dedicated to be on a laptop, to be on a phone, constantly checking where the goods are, constantly checking when it's delivering, making sure the payments are done on time. But then I'm not sure if I want to rent an office space and then be in the office, because right now no one that works with me is keen on this, and so that would be me sitting in the office again, which sort of already spent my years behind the desk, and now I'm more than happy to drive around the country because it's nice seeing sun, really. So I remember my last 2 jobs, I was as far away from the window as possible. It was sometimes difficult to say if it's sunny or raining. But yeah, so the idea is to get an O license. I've been thinking of O license since beginning, but there was really never enough funds to justify going into that. But now with 3-4 vans, we should have enough profit to pay for the lorry, pay for the driver and the fuel and everything like that. So that could happen sooner than expected. And yeah, did I meet any YouTubers? Big Pete, Beardy, Goldmember. I only met Pete. It was in Heathrow. I think I was in a combo, so I've not done many big trips in a combo on CX, but yeah, I went to the office. I parked up next to him. I didn't realize it was his van. I went to the office and I can hear him. And I started looking around. There was like 5 or 6 drivers, and I was like, hello. He's obviously big, tall, and he shouts. He's as you expect a market trader to be like. He's very loud. He wasn't shouting. It was just the way he was speaking to the guy behind the desk. Everyone could hear him. I think he said he had 3 pallets of biscuits, and they came all the way from God knows where. But yeah, not met anyone else yet. Maybe that's the next thing to do. Set a date. I don't know if anyone will be interested. Probably not weekday, because everyone is driving, trying to make money on the weekdays. So maybe some sort of weekend. Get together in a pub or somewhere. I'm not even sure who I would want to meet, because I seem to know a lot about everyone, but Pete is definitely easy to chat with. I'm assuming everyone who makes videos is chatty. Yeah, Sunday. So I'm assuming you would want Cornwall. Pete would want probably Milton Keynes or wherever he's based. I think Van on the Run is up north. I want to say Manchester. Goldmember is also that way. Beardy is Norwich, I think. So it's like right now, people are popping all over the country. So I think Milton Keynes seems to be the center of the YouTube community. But yeah, maybe we can set something up. Are you guys on the Facebook group? Because there are some interesting characters in the Facebook group. They always have a strong opinion about any subject, and that is another thing. A lot of people ask question like, "What's the best way to make money?" And well, I don't know. I'll drive a van. I'm not making much. And yeah, you need to understand who you're asking the question to, because there's going to be like businesses who will have completely different opinion. They will try to have a fleet as quickly as possible, as many drivers as possible, as many staff in the office, just to make sure this keeps rolling and they make money. And then you ask someone who's self-employed, like Pete or Goldmember. Goldmember might be a business now. But they all about costs. So Van on the Run is also a very good example. He's all about cutting costs, all about saving money, having the cheapest insurance, cheapest fuel, and one sec. And he's obviously going to have a different opinion to me because I'm in business. I want to make sure that the vans stay on the road as much as possible. I don't really mind paying a bit extra for the transit. The transit, I think, all in all, is going to cost approximately £1,000 a month, which is ridiculous. If you told me when I was starting, I'm going to be paying for a van £1,000 per month. But there's no alternative. Like, to rent a vehicle for commercial use with insurance, I think I had quotes in a region of £1,500. So a week, that was for a week. So £4,000 or £5,000 for a month, or having another van just sitting every now and again. Obviously, there are smaller vans we could rent. There are other options, but for the time being, it seems to make sense. This Monday is going to be a record Monday because we're going to spend 600. I have to pay £600 for fuel for last week, no, week before that. We have not been particularly busy that week. It just happened that all the tanks were empty on Monday, like super empty, and yeah, I think that figure is going to go up because now there's 3 vans running. The small van does like 52 miles to a gallon. Luton does about 29 miles to a gallon, and Boxer does about 29, I think. So they're very close. But obviously, Luton is running really slow. When I'm driving it, it's usually 60 at a push following a lorry because it does not like motorways, that van. As soon as you go, well, 60 or 65, because you're allowed to travel 70, but if you do 70, the MPG goes down. And when you're doing 1,200, 1,500, 2,000 miles a week, it costs a fortune. Do I plan on doing trips to Europe? I'm not insured. I'm not planning on having a insurance for Europe, mainly because I'm scared of not finding a job back. I had a look on CX. There seems to be work here and there popping, but there are other networks more popular in Europe that I could join. Again, it's an option. It's just way too expensive to try, and I'm very happy running in the country. Like right now, there's a lot of work. Possibly next year. Oh no, I think it was this year. New rules came in. So in Germany, you have to have a book on the 3.5 ton vans, kind of like a driver. You need to keep a record of driving hours, where you're collecting stuff from, and it just seems like a pain. And there are rumors of introducing the same system over to France and Spain and all over Europe, which I am not very keen in. It's not like I'm doing silly hours. It's just another thing to basically drive around the continent. And majority of the vehicles we have are old, and we're not going to be sending a 12-plate Luton on a continent. Not that we had many issues with it. It seems risky. I just need to find an email. How is it? Oh. But yeah, European guys that run for Europe are working out the rates differently. So in the UK, there seems to be like a standard tariff. So everyone from like the shippers up north to the drivers, anywhere, they sort of seem to communicate in the same way. That a mile in Luton will be at least £1 or £1.30 if it needs a tail lift. But it's not the case with European hauliers or even own drivers. because if a van has a lucrative job from France to Poland, they will do anything to get to France. And also there are customs now you have to fill in, which is another challenge for traveling to Europe. Nice. Another comment. I will use English because I think most of the audience will be English, as I'm doing well. This week was not very profitable. We didn't break any records. We made good money. But on Monday, I sort of got a green light to collect a van. So Tuesday, we've done that. We've collected a little Ford. And then on Wednesday, we had sort of breaking in days, tried to take it as far as possible. So Manchester and back. So overall, the week was good. Now the van is running well. The driver is quite happy with the app and all the setup and sort of rates she can be quoting. But yeah, 9 jobs in a day. Oh, yeah, I'm not set up for, I'm not even thinking about ADR. It would be a nice thing to add. So I don't think ADR is that complicated, just making sure that you have the right insurance. Majority of the stuff is limited quantity. So ADR items that you're going to be doing on CX is probably like batteries and some not flammable liquids, but liquids that can harm the environment. So you're not going to be moving any bombs or anything exciting like that. Well, yeah, not quite sure what else to say. September, we have no plans, anything exciting yet. We've done 6 on a long way. That is a busy day. 6 jobs on a long wheelbase. I'm not sure what your name is. Okay. But yeah, I'm considering a busy day when I have 3 jobs on Luton or long wheelbase. But to do 6, you guys are doing well. Like, I think you said you started it recently with the Luton and then got a second van because it was so busy. That just goes to show you in the right area. Ipswich is not the greatest for CX, just because majority of the goods are going on the network. So I think there's a pallet network or whatever the networks are going on the big lorries, and then up north you probably deliver that stuff. Is that or containers going directly to warehouses? So yeah, we have some quiet days, very quiet, which I actually enjoy because that means I can do some accounting and checking what's happening with the business, promoting it, doing sometimes Facebook ads, which are not very great. I think that one or 2 good jobs in from Facebook. Majority of them were inquiries from Karens saying, "Can you move a sofa for £10?" and stuff like that. Wait, we need to start advertising more. I've got flyers somewhere. Well, got like lots of flyers that they're not white. They're just the top of the pack is white. I've not had a chance to distribute them purely because whenever it's quiet, I've already got some other stuff to do. So I do like maintenance, changing tires and such. Wait, I'm a little bit worried of distributing this stuff. Oh my god, where's the knife? So yeah, this is the flyer we have. It's very simple. It basically says business and then like contact numbers and what we can do. It was always scary to distribute them because the worst thing that's going to happen is they're going to convert into business really quickly, and then we're going to have to sit in the office all day. So on a quieter days, I keep planning to distribute them, but I sort of never have days that are as quiet as I would need to. Plenty of jobs. Coventry, Birmingham area are probably the best. They are indeed. Coventry is really good. I'm not sure if you guys know about this, but there's something called a warehousing belt. I think it's the term used by the shipping industry. Basically, what that means, there's a stretch of country going from Birmingham down to. Let me have a look. It doesn't matter. It's just a stretch of, I don't know, 100 miles, 200 miles. That basically, if you have a warehouse within this area, your driver can reach 90% of population within 4 hours, which in terms means that majority of the customers will be served with a lorry. So yeah, big delivery. So stuff like shops like Marks and Spencer, Tesco, Sainsbury's, they all have those big hubs in this area, and then everyone else sort of follows, like Amazon and such. But that's the main reason. There's like 80 or 90% of population lives within 4 hours of that belt, I think it's called. So yeah, that's why Birmingham Milton Keynes is really good, because not only you got access to London within a driver's day there and back, but you also can go north, east, west. Not much, but yeah. So the area does depend. Then again, Ipswich is so hit and miss that, you know, it's a quieter day when free shippers call one after the other asking if I've got a van for tomorrow. And we don't really stay much in Ipswich. The contracted work keeps us busy, and then we just need a one job, and then pretty much in Birmingham all day, or Coventry or wherever. Yeah. Any other questions? Any other suggestions? Any recommendations? Do you guys run your own Facebook pages, as in for the business? Because we have one, and it looks pretty, but it doesn't generate much business. It just shows the supporters what we're up to. The most recent post is of the new van. Yeah. This vibrates a little, shaking. Yeah. What do you guys think is the best fun for CX, because on Wednesday I've done on Wednesday we've done 2 jobs in the new little small van. 2 jobs, about 500 miles or 550. It was Norwich to Ipswich. We'll spend the night. Then we woke up at 3:30, I think, left around 4, deliver at 8. Swapped on the way, just to see how the van drives. That's why there was 2 of us in a small van. And then came back, and that was I think over £300, and then the fuel was £50. So that's good. I think there's no one van that is best, because well, there are certain jobs that Luton can do, but nothing else can. And on CX, I keep seeing shippers asking for 1,200, 1,500 kilograms Lutons, which I don't think exist, but I could be wrong. So it's sort of, you can have a good day with a Luton, but then spend a lot of money on fuel, or you can have, well, half the revenue on a small van, but a lot less in fuel. So sort of, you might be better off with a small van. Like, I think ideal, there'll be someone in the office planning you, and then they can make any van work. But long wheelbase is a good choice for the first van. So you have a Citroen Dispatch. That's a nice one. I've never driven Citroens. They seem to have a better interior than a Peugeot, a little bit, but then the body is like the same. Are they the part of PSI group? Basically share all the development cost. The funny thing is the Peugeot that we have is actually running a Ford engine, so there's not much choice between like Ford, Fiat, Ford, Citroen, Peugeot. Like the only competition is Fiat, which uses the same body, but they somehow have different engines, 2.3 liters. I don't know why, but they've got nice 8 gears automatics. Also, Renault has different engines, but the downside of Renault is they don't do full automatics. They have, I think they call it half. It's basically no clutch, but you still have to manually select the gear, which is a halfway measure, really. Yeah, short wheelbase. I was very tempted to get a V10 Mercedes, because I just like the interior of them. Like they are the top of the range, like better than Sprinters, really. But the problem is they are tiny inside. Short loading bay, low. I don't think you can get them with the high roof option. But then again, the good thing is they often have twin doors on sides, so perfect for multi-drops, which I'm not keen on doing again. Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, when we were in Manchester on Wednesday, we spoke. We met someone new, collecting from the same place as us. He was in Transit Connect, so the bigger brother, claiming he does £2,000 a week, which is like whatever. Revenue doesn't mean anything. Because the surprising thing that he said was he does about 10,000 miles a week in that van, spending 20 hours a day, which is terrifying. Like, for anyone to spend that much time in a tiny van and doing 10,000 miles a week. He got the van in December, and where are we? August. He said it was on 70,000 miles. but that is a lot. I'm not. I think I can be called lazy compared to him, because whenever I do a 500-mile day, the next day I'm a little slow. I'm not bidding on everything. Do you guys have the same issue? Like whenever you do X amount of miles in a week, you take 5 days off, or in my case, it's usually really big week, 2,000 miles or so, and then nothing for Monday, maybe a local job on Tuesday, and by Wednesday I'm back in the rhythm. Right, I think this live run was very fun to interact. I got some questions answered. I've talked about everything on my list, so I'm not going to be wasting any more of your time. As mentioned before, we might try and set up a meet maybe one day. Not necessarily for me. It would be nice to have some more interesting characters like Goldmember and Pete. We'll see. At the end of the day, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? We can share some secrets and learn some new things. Yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll try to publish this. We shall see if I can succeed. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.